Welcome everyone once again to the No Cell Wrestling Podcast, episode 19, I think. Today it's just myself and Alan. Obviously it's really crazy hot in the UK over here, and there's some people who've gone away but was on vacation, bless them. So today you're only getting myself and Alan. I'm sure Com and Kev will be back next week. So the last show that we did, Al, was the live coverage of Night of Champions, which in a world of wrestling has only been about 10 or so days, but it feels like it's been a lot longer than that because we've had we've had two new world champions, and if someone else has given up a king in the ring, making that. We're going to cover all of this, so a lot's happened in the last 10 days or so, and it feels like it's been a lot longer, but it has only been 10 days since our last show. And apologies we couldn't get a show to you guys last week. We do apologize. Like I say, the World Cup, and people do work. I'm the only one of us four who's a complete loser who hasn't got a job. So, and although I could come on and do solo shows, I don't know. I don't think you guys want to sit and hear me rant about Roman Reigns for an hour because I easily could. That's just my dislike of the man. Right. So, Night of Champions. You guys were around for our live coverage, so I don't feel we need to review every match in great detail. But let's quickly read the results. A lot of which feels mute, like I said. So, okay, so the King of the Ring finals, which I've told you, it seems so pointless now, but it is what it is. Obafemi defeated Jey Uso. So we all thought that Jey Uso was gonna win, right? Because it's just like Brock Lesnar's gonna interfere, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly what we all thought.
None of it happened. It was a 6-minute match because that apparently that's all Obafemi can ever have. Apparently, and Jey Uso had a little bit of offense, but he kicks out of his crappy spear, his crappy super kick, and then just hits his finisher 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Clean as a sheet. No screwy stuff.
Plus, you have to also mention the super kick he missed.
Well, that's Jey Uso in a nutshell. Jey Uso is terrible. He's It's weird, isn't it? How someone can obviously be a very good tag wrestler, which the Usos were, but as a singles guy, he just does not have it.
He can't carry a match in a singles match at all.
No,
I mean I would have forgiven him, but Obafemi was sitting down at the time. He was sitting upright, and he still missed his head.
Yeah, Jey Uso has become quite a sloppy wrestler, and the thing is, maybe he always was, but maybe you just didn't notice it as much because he was always in tag matches. So maybe people just didn't notice it as much, and and it happens. There's many wrestlers, and I mean, it obviously is very popular. It's not going to be popular to guys like me or Alan, but if you're 15 or younger, maybe I'm being generous with 15. You're going to do the yeet stuff. You're going to like the glasses, blah blah. That's who his target audience is. It's not for grown men, I don't think. So anyway, Obafemi wins the King of the Ring, and we'll talk about that in a sec because, excuse me, like I say, it's all kind of been for moot considering that they did nothing with it. So it's all a complete and utter waste of time. Other matches. So the Queen of the Ring. I mean, at least this actually fulfilled a purpose, I suppose. Your favorite wrestler, Alan, Io Sky.
Yeah, I love her music.
I know. I can't stand the head bob either. I know. I like her as a wrestler, but I have joined Alan on the I can't stand when you bob your head stuff. Like I despise.
It's her music I don't like. I can't stand her music. It's boring.
I'm indifferent.
It drains. It just drains me every time I hear it.
For me and Alan, we do disagree. He doesn't like the music. I can't stand her wobbly head pose. I can't. I think she looks. I don't want to say the word because it is only 7:30, right? It begins with an R, ends with tarded, right? That's what she looks like to me when she does it. So there we are. That's what I think. Anyway, she wins the Queen of the Ring, defeats Liv Morgan in the process, and thus automatically after she wins, Alan says, "There you go. I'm going to challenge you for the belt at SummerSlam right then and there." So that was the pure purpose for the Queen of the Ring, just to get a title match. But at least she's actually getting a title match, unlike Obafemi. Very quickly, big up to Cuva in the chat. Big up to Cuva, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, we're just doing a quick show. Just me and Alan tonight. Just a quick show. Alan, any thoughts on the Queen of the Ring? Liv Morgan, why was she there? Why was she in the tournament? Don't know.
It's probably because they're so short on women in their roster. They fired a load of them. So who they got left? Raquel Rodriguez.
Roxanne
Roxanne
Perez would have been a better choice.
Perez, yeah, would have been a better choice. Yeah, but of course you got the I say 2 world champions.
Well,
even though one of them's missing,
she's still in.
Should be stripped really. So she's been she's disappeared for a long time, so she should have been stripped.
They don't reinforce that rule anymore, Alan.
Yeah, I know. Asuka's, in limbo. Kairi Sane left. The Secret Hervis has been disbanded, thank God. Awful faction that was.
Yeah.
And there's you've got Lash Legend, and her and Nia Jax haven't been seen in a long time. We're probably lucky.
I mean, but you've just given the list of women, and even though some of those women are not amazing, they could have easily be just. They could have had them got to a final and lost to her. At least it would have given a chance for some of them to try to impress people. I'm not a massive fan of most of them. Like I say, I like Roxanne Perez. I don't mind Rodriguez. At least she's trying to be a. Kevin Nash gave her some advice, and I can't remember what it was, but to just wrestle a bit differently because she's obviously one of the larger women. So I don't mind her. She at least tries to wrestle a slightly different style. She would have been a better option, Alan, to go to the finals. I mean, just as because I just don't think the point of Liv Morgan. I just don't get it. But
yeah, I agree. It would be better had Rodriguez gone to it.
So I am very depressed about the state of one of these wrestlers we're going to talk about next. So Seth Rollins defeats Braun Breaker. Now, Rollins has obviously gone on to get the title shot against Reigns, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm sure. So he needed to win that match to get for it to make sense to get the title shot. He had to win a match, right? Braun Breaker, how has he? The last 6 months, I know he was injured for 2 or 3 months, but the last 6 months, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody fall from grace from going from being the next kind of chosen one, which he was last year. He was the new chosen one, right? This is the man who won the War Games, Alan, in November last year, the Survivor Series.
Yeah, that's right.
He pinned CM Punk, the then world champion. Clean. In the match. And then he got himself a title shot. And everyone thought, or at least a lot of people thought, there was a good chance he was going to win that. And if he doesn't win the belt, a lot of people had, he's going to win the Royal Rumble, and he's going to win the belt at WrestleMania. I was one of them. I thought that's what they were going to do as well. I thought he's for sure going to come out of WrestleMania as a world champion, at least of one of the belts. I thought for sure. And of course, he got himself injured, which is nobody's fault. But to now find him, he lost again, clean. To Rollins again. So Rollins beat him in the feud. So he lost the feud overall. He won 1 out of the 3 matches. Rollins won the other 2. So Rollins wins the feud. So he lost the feud against Rollins. And now he finds himself a tag team champion with Austin Theory. Wow.
Yeah, that is a slip. And as I said, the injury he suffered, again, like you said, not his fault, but that I think cost him. Because had he stuck around, it would have been him in this sort of like position that Obafemi's found himself in. Obafemi would have probably found himself more in a mid-card kind of a role.
He's definitely taking his spot.
He still probably would have fought Brock Lesnar, but it would never have been this high profile.
No. At
all. So, parallel universe, Braun Breaker's probably world champion right now.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I am. I'm surprised to see them calling off a Braun Breaker. I don't know. Do they think he's injury prone? Is he? Has he had loads? No, not really. He's not. I don't think he's injury prone. He had an injury.
One injury that I know of. That's about it.
Did he piss in somebody's cornflake backstage? Did he say something bad to Roman Reigns, for example? Did he say something? I don't know. Don't know. I have no evidence to back it. I'm trying to work out the reason for the stalling of him, right? Because that's what's happened. He's 100% stalled. And as Alan says, Obafemi's just taking his place. So I don't know where they go. I think I can see Breaker turning face on the rest of the division at some point. Maybe they might have to wait until Logan Paul comes back from his injury. Then I could see, because now that Heyman, I don't think Heyman's aligned. I don't think Heyman's aligned with them anymore. I think Heyman's more or less gone.
Yeah, he's kind of taken a bit of a backseat to them. I think he's still there, but he's not in with them as he used to be. I think he's more involved with Brock at the moment.
Yeah. So I think
that,
the blooms off the rose for the
division.
I
was going to say, dare I say, Maxime Dupree's kind of taken his place. That's a big negative.
Well, yeah, she ain't no Paul Heyman. But hey, look, if she wants to be Austin Theory's valet, which is what I'm assuming, look, she can't wrestle to save her life, so I don't think she should be anywhere near the ring. With all due respect to the woman, she's green, but she's not ready for prime time. She should be
green as goose shit.
Exactly. Thank you, Jim Cornette. So Breakker versus Rollins. Rollins beats him clean. Stomp off the top rope. I didn't mind the finish. It wasn't a complete burial. It did take one of Seth's kind of super moves to put him away, I suppose. But still,
yeah, it was probably the best match on the card.
That or the main event, yeah. You didn't like the main event, okay?
No, I thought the main event was a bit of just tanked along. Typical triple threat match, really.
Well, we're coming to it in a sec, right? So there was 2 more matches. Not that much of note happened. Ricky Saints predictably lost to Trick Williams, their other new pet project. Somebody else who's taken Braun Breaker's role as well. Him and Obafemi have kind of taken Breaker's spot. I thought the match was sloppy. I think Trick Williams' full stop is sloppy. He's got a good look. The promo is okay, though he's another one of these guys who I think's a heel, but he gets cheered. That seems to be commonplace nowadays. I don't think he needs Little Yossi. I do not understand why he needs him. I don't get it.
Yeah, Little Yoshi's terrible. But we've said it before. When he takes bumps and all that, he doesn't know how to sell at all. He's up within seconds, thinking, "Sorry, you're a valet or a manager. You're not a wrestler." As soon as you get hit, you go down. You stay down. Look at the greats. Look at the Bobby Heenans. Look at the Jimmy Harts. The Mr. Fujis. You get hit, you're down. You're not a wrestler. You can't take hits like that. Especially a haluva kick to the back of the head that he took a couple of pay-per-views back.
I don't think he gives a shit. He's a celebrity. I don't think he cares about. I'm sure he's a wrestling fan, like so many of them are, but I don't think he actually gives a shit. You know what I mean? I don't.
He's just there for clicks. He's just there to get the kids clicking.
He's there to try to siphon attention onto Trick Williams. So I understand why they're doing it. Hey, look, again, me and Alan are not the target audience, right? We're really not.
It's just a shame that no one at this side of the pond knows who he is.
Well, that's what I mean. Right?
If it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't know who Little Yachty was.
And maybe some of the kids do, right? But I mean, again, this is not me and Alan, right? So this is not appealing to us and never will. So Trick Williams beats Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints, not the best. When did he debut? Was it January? Ricky Saints debut, Alan? When did Ricky Saints debut?
What, with the main roster?
Yeah.
Recently, I think it's after WrestleMania.
Was it only after WrestleMania?
Yeah, it's only after WrestleMania. Yeah, he debuted. He's been in NXT since his sign up with the company. Yeah,
so Ricky Saints comes in, loses to Cody. I know Cody was the world champion. I understand, but still, I still think that when somebody comes in and loses their debut, I still don't think generally it leaves a good impression. But there we are. Anyway, so I don't think he's set the world on fire. Unfortunately, Ricky Saints, he's taken quite a few losses, including this one. This was his first pay-per-view match, and he ends up in defeat. Look, for me, guys, wins and losses matter. I know that a lot of people don't care about that, but I do, right? Wins and losses matter. For me, it does matter. So Ricky Saints, I don't think it's been a particularly good start for him. I'm not saying he's doomed to fail. It's still probably too early to kind of say something like that, but it's not, for me, it's not been encouraging signs.
No, I agree. I think he's another one of those typical NXT call-ups that's just, been called up because, he looks good. He's got a good move set.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts a good promo. But that's it. Now they don't know what to do with him, rather than job to this guy, job to that guy.
If we were playing Story Designer, Alan, if they ever bring it back, yeah. I'm sure me and Alan will stream it if we can. But if they ever do, it is a big if. I would be creating, if we had the game this year, one of my storylines would be creating a heel faction, Alan, with Cody Rhodes, Ricky Saints, and what's his bloody name? Powerhouse Hobbs. What's his Royce Keys. I would be creating a faction of those 3 guys because they've all got roots in AEW. They're all best mates as well.
You got what would be like an invasion angle almost.
Almost a little bit, but I would turn Cody heel because it's obvious to most people that Cody's run his course as a babyface. It happens to everyone. Even Hulk Hogan eventually had to turn. So Cody Rhodes has run his, he's at the end of his shelf life as a babyface. So now is the time, and that is what I would, I would be doing that on my story. I think I look at those three. They're all on SmackDown. They're all good friends. They've all got a history in AEW. A lot of the fans know that. So yeah, and you got the Big Bruiser protecting kind of Cody would be the leader, and then you've got the Big Bruiser protecting him in Royce Keys, and then you've got the kind of younger kind of upstart guy. This is a classic Four Horsemen. Evolution did it. Randy Orton, Batista, Ric Flair, Triple H. So it's a certain way of.
Well, it sounds like the pinnacle from AEW. Wasn't that Jericho's?
Jericho's had loads, and Jericho's had like the Inner Circle.
That's it, the Inner Circle. So I meant, yeah, the pinnacle was MJF, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So Ricky Saints loses. Like I say, I'm not saying I've given up on him, but I don't think it's the most encouraging first couple of months of his career. We'll see. And Jade, she's that bitch, Alan. Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. Did you enjoy that match? Women's US title match. I think Alan's forgotten it's even happened. Bless him. Still there, Al?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Brain fart.
Yeah, I know you've tried to block it out of your mind. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. But,
yeah, all I know is it's that bitch versus Stiffy time. God, who won that match? I can't even remember.
Tiffany Stratton because Charlotte Flair. So lucky us, we get a Charlotte Flair Jade Cargill match. That's it. Can't wait.
That's it. Memories are coming back now. Yeah, those locked memories are coming back.
Big up to Ryan in the chat who says, "Big up to Tequila and Alan." Did he call you Alien? Alan, sorry. How are you both, and how's Princess Cheryl? I'll let Alan talk about that.
Yep, Cheryl's well. Yep, she's very well. She's I think she's just hot. I just left her having her dinner. This is why I was late on stream, because I was prepping. Yeah, she's good.
Kuva says, I still don't know what a little yutty is. I don't know. Despite you say, I don't know who he is either, Kuva. Guys our age, he's not for us. So I mean, he's some rapper. He's just to me, he's just another faceless rapper. That's how I would describe him. That's how I look at him. But I'm sure the kids of today think he's amazing. And Ryan says, not a fan of Ricky Saints or Ethan Page. Ethan Page, I don't see that much in. He does use the razor's edge as a finisher.
That's a plus. He hits it quite well.
He does it pretty well. Yeah. So I don't mind that because I love Scott Hall. So any tributes to Scott Hall, I'm kind of always a bit giddy. So Damian Priest, obviously, kind of tribute to Scott Hall as well. Until people started kicking out of it, then I started getting pissed off. It's like no
one kicks out of
it. Right. So as Alan can't remember it, and I can barely remember it, Jade Cargill lost again to Tiffany Stratton. I don't care about either women. I don't care about the US title. Tiffany Stratton is a terrible babyface. She's another person who's terribly miscast. Why she's not playing the bitchy blonde, I don't know, because that's exactly what she should be doing. Jade Cargill flat out can't play any character, so I just don't know what you do with her. Make her, what you do with Jade Cargill, you do what they did to Kevin Nash. Before Nash actually showed charisma as Diesel, when he was Shawn Michaels' bodyguard, that's what you do with Jade Cargill. You make her somebody's bodyguard. So she stands there and looks imposing. That's it. That's what you do with her. You don't have her in the ring wrestling. You really don't. Until she's ready, which I'm not sure she ever will be, but you just don't have her wrestling singles matches. Just no. And then the main event, as I said, it seems like it was ages and ages ago because so much has happened. The World Wrestling Tag Team Championship. Thanks, Andre. The World Undisputed World Heavyweight Title. Cody Rhodes versus Gunter versus Sami Zayn. Alan said he didn't really like this match. I did. It does follow a formula, Alan. It does follow a formula. The triple threat matches always seem to. There's always one guy who rolls out of the ring. That's just the way they are. So either you love or you like it or you don't. I actually prefer the way ECW used to do it many years ago when they used to do elimination matches. I used to prefer them. On
the triple threat rules.
Yeah, and fatal four ways. I've always preferred elimination matches. So
were they called triple threats or were they called triangle matches?
I think initially they were called triangle matches, and then the triple threat. I think the triple threat might have been
because I remember them. I remember them being in that the old N64 game, Warzone, and there was a match type in it called triangle match. It's basically a triple threat.
Well, I believe the first company, at least I knew about, at least on a national stage, was ECW. Were the first people who started doing the triple threat matches, the triangle matches, and then obviously, like the WWF did, they copied ECW, and so did WCW did as well. But it was ECW, I believe, who were the first company to do triple threat matches. So, but they are an acquired taste. I do understand why some people don't like them because it does involve somebody having to roll out the ring a lot. It does. That is what a lot of it is. Somebody rolls out the ring so the other two guys can do some spots. But even though me and Alan might disagree, I quite enjoyed it. Well, I didn't think it was like second coming or anything. I thought it was all right. But surprisingly, even though I did say that I thought Sami Zayn would win, I don't think I really believed it. But storyline-wise, it did kind of make sense to me, at least at the time. But I didn't think that WWE they would go. I just didn't think they put the belt on him because look, you can't blame me for feeling that way, Alan. He just lost a feud to Trick Williams a month or so before. He just lost a feud to Trick Williams over the US belt. So why was I going to believe he was going to win the world title? So, but Sami Zayn ends up shocking the world and winning the undisputed title in, I suppose, his adopted home country of Saudi Arabia. There's been a lot of talk that Triple H has only booked that to pop the crowd, right? To give Sami Zayn that kind of moment, I suppose. And I think that there is truth to that. I think that maybe that it was done just to give the fans a kind of happy moment, momentarily a happy moment for Saudi Arabia, I guess. I mean, it's the closest thing Saudi Arabia are ever going to get to one of their own winning title because they don't have any of their own in wrestling, really. They had like Mansoor, where he ended up. I think he's in AEW. The guy who wrestled as Mansoor. So Sami Zayn is the closest thing that they have, the Saudis, to one of their own. So they decided to put the belt on him. I was surprised that that Sami Zayn won the title clean. There was no cheating. There was no screw around. Sami Zayn just pinned him. He just crowded him. Cody Rhodes was going through his crossroads at the end, and Sami Zayn just crowded him. 1, 2, 3, center of the ring, clean as a sheet. So I was surprised. Alan, were you surprised at Sami Zayn winning? Okay, I don't know what's happened to Alan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to keep muting myself so I can fan myself. What was I saying? Yeah, I was completely surprised by that because I thought it was just going to be a one-on-one. You know, they're throw Gunther to the outside for the final part of it. Sammy and Cody would just go back and forth, trading counters and all that. When he cradled him, I thought he was going to kick out of it. I honestly thought he was going to kick out of that. But when he got him, I thought, my God, Sami Zayn's the world champion.
There is a noticeable pause after he wins because I think a lot of people were just like, "Wait, what?" I think that's how the crowd reacted. There was like a 3 or 4 second pause between the 3 count and the fans actually realizing, like, "Wait, he beat him clean? He just cradled him and just." Because even though Sami Zayn was being obviously cheered because of his Islamic roots, or Muslim roots, isn't he? He's Muslim, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Muslim roots. Obviously, he was getting the hometown hero stuff. But even so, he's being portrayed as a heel for most of the world. So to win it clean as a shit over the big baby face is not something you see often. But he did.
No, it's not.
What was telling, and I remember because obviously me, Alan, and Com watched this live, and I think one of the last things we were talking about before. Oh no, sorry, this was after the show, right? So I actually, I watched a little bit of the after show, which I generally didn't bother with, but I watched like 10 minutes of it, and they had an interview with Sami Zayn live. He comes back out, and right away, one of the phrases he uses is, "I don't know how long this is going to last, right? But I am your world heavyweight champion." And I thought to myself, why have you said that? Why have you brought up to everyone that it doesn't matter how long this lasts? That for me, I don't know if Zayn meant to do it. I mean, I'm assuming he did. And maybe you can make an argument, maybe he shouldn't have. I think he was kind of letting people know that, yeah, I'm dropping this belt in 9 days, which is what's happening.
Yeah, he's sowing the seeds of his loss already.
Yeah. So obviously Zayn knew, most likely Zayn knew exactly what the plan was. So he knew he was only having a short reign. And to be honest, I think most older wrestling fans do kind of know a transitional champion when we see one. We've seen many of them. Normally, the way that WWE have always done it, normally a transitional champion is used to put the title from one babyface to another without having the initial babyface lose to the other babyface. Because in the old days, promoters did not want to have babyface versus babyface matches. Nowadays, it's much more acceptable. But in the olden days, the last thing they ever wanted to do is to have a babyface fight a babyface, because they didn't want to split the crowd. They wanted the crowd to like everybody. They didn't want any babyfaces being booed, which makes sense, especially back then. The first babyface versus babyface match I remember, Alan, on pay-per-view was Hogan versus Warrior.
Yeah, the very first match I ever saw for WWF at the time.
Yeah, that was the first time they put two massive babyfaces, at least on national TV. Whether or not they might have done it on house shows, right? Or who knows? Maybe even on one of the old wrestling challenges or superstars that in the annals of time, maybe they had the occasional good guy versus good guy, but it certainly was not commonplace. It was very, very rarely done, especially on the big pay-per-views back then. It just didn't happen. They just did not do it. It was always babyface versus heel. So a lot of the times what they used to do is they used to put in a heel in the middle. So when Bob Backlund lost the WWF back then title to the Iron Sheik, it's because they wanted to put the belt on Hogan, but they didn't want Hogan to beat Backlund for the belt, so they needed the Iron Sheik. Another example, when Warrior dropped the title, they wanted to put the title back on Hogan, but they didn't want Hogan to beat Warrior. They didn't want to do it again, so they had Warrior drop the title to who? Sergeant Slaughter. And Slaughter only held it for a month or two, and then Slaughter lost it to Hogan. They did the same thing for Bret Hart and Diesel. Bret Hart lost the world title to Bob Backlund at Survivor Series 94, I believe. And then Diesel beat him 5 days later in about 6 seconds at Madison Square Garden, because they didn't want Diesel to really beat Bret for the belt. So they've always done this kind of thing several times throughout history. They will put normally it's a heel champion. They will put a heel champion in the middle to kind of filter the two baby faces fighting each other, which is what they've done with Sami Zayn. Because in case you've been living under a rock, and I'm sure that you guys must know by now, on Raw, CM Punk returned and defeated Sami Zayn in the main event for the world title after Cody Rhodes was taken out by Gunther, of all people. Alan, any more thoughts on the actual Night of Champions pay-per-view before we will talk about everything that's happened?
No, I'm good. I am good. Night of Champions is probably best left in the rear view mirror.
Before we talk about the Raws and stuff like that, just quickly, Brian says, I hope Oba beats Brock at SummerSlam. He probably will, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. That's a given.
Alan, it's like WWE 2K26, a roll-up win. Yeah, but Sami Zayn will.
Roll-ups seem to be very, very powerful in pinning people in that game.
And he says the WWE Undisputed Championship looked good on film. It reminds me of him beating Cena at Money in the Bank. Just feels right. Do you agree, Alan Tequila? Well, we are going to get into that. There's quite a lot of blowback on CM Punk, actually. Quite a lot of negativity, at least what I've seen over the last couple of days. and a lot of people not liking what's happening. So we are going to talk about that in a minute, Ryan. So we'll cover it then. Since then, there's been 1 SmackDown and 2 Raws. I'm going to be honest with you, Alan. I don't remember a thing that happened on SmackDown last week. No, Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes beat Jey Uso to get the title shot. That's all.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Anytime Jey Uso takes a pinfall, it makes me laugh. It makes you smile.
Yeah. So once again, Jey Uso apparently gets himself another number 1 contendership opportunity.
Somehow.
Don't know why he gets so many, but he does. But he lost to Cody Rhodes, which set up obviously the Cody Rhodes Sami Zayn match on Raw, which is meant to happen. We are jumping over the place, but like I say, we've got 2 Raws to quickly cover. Not that much happened on last week's Raw. When I say last week, I don't mean Monday's Raw. I mean the week before. The one after Night of Champions. So what did happen is Brock Lesnar finally did show up and confronted Obafemi, and talked shit to him, which I quite enjoyed, because Brock, even though Brock's not an amazing promo, he does have his moments when he wants to. He can be quite funny. And I did like the way he was just like, talk shit, get hit, and then he kicked him in the balls. I personally enjoyed that. I can't help it. Then F5's Obafemi, and then Obafemi, maybe a little bit of an overreaction. I mean, you got good guys have got to be portrayed as being brave. I understand this, but you also need to have a brain on this, a brain as well. So Obafemi kind of more or less sacrificing his title shot from winning King of the Ring for another match against Brock Lesnar. Why couldn't he have, and explain this to me, Alan, why couldn't he have just say, okay, I'm going to get my title shot, and then after I win the title, I'm going to come for you, Brock? Why couldn't he?
Yeah, that would have been a better option. Obafemi versus Brock for the World Championship.
Why? So when Obafemi just sacrificed the title shot, it makes, this is where I don't agree with it. It makes the King of the Ring look pointless.
Yep, it was. The King of the Ring's been pointless for a long time. I've said time and time again, it should be a one-night event. It should be held over like a course of like 3 or 4 weeks. It needs to be done in one night. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final, one night. I know why they won't do it, because obviously they got the women's and men's, but hey, make it a 2-night event then. Simple.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Make it a 2-night event. Men's on one night, women's on the other.
Yeah, it's made the whole tournament kind of pointless. It's made Obafemi look stupid. This is my opinion, of course. I think he looks stupid. I think he looks dumb. I think it makes him look dumb. I like logic in my wrestling as much as I can. And for me, that was a bit silly.
Yeah, Femi's excuse was the title's always going to be there. I can come for it anytime I want. That
devalues the title.
Yeah.
that devalues the title. That devalues the importance of getting a title shot, because that says, oh, I'll just get a title shot anytime. It shouldn't be that way. You getting a title shot. The title, right, should be the most important thing that every wrestler, especially the singles wrestlers at least, should be striving to be. They should all be striving to be the world champion. That is what they all should be striving for above anything else. So that's what I mean. It makes him look a bit dumb, in my opinion. But that's it. Hell in a Cell. So Brock Lesnar accepts the challenge and then adds the caveat, Hell in a Cell. Also, normally the heel isn't the one who suggests Hell in a Cell, because it's meant to Hell in a Cell is meant to be caging 2 men.
Yeah, there's a reason behind that.
Yeah, why? Yeah, but Alan, explain to me, why is the heel being the bravest? Why is the heel being?
Because in this context, Brock has actually never been defeated in Hell in a Cell. That's a statistic they put up on Raw. That Brock he's only had a few, but he's actually never lost in Hell in a Cell.
Okay, well, that makes a bit more sense if they're saying the reason why he did Hell in a Cell because he's undefeated. It's just that normally it's the baby phase. Normally the way it goes is the heel's meant to be the reluctant one to go into the Hell in a Cell, right? Look at the first Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Why was that developed? Because Shawn Michaels kept on getting interference from DX in all his matches against The Undertaker. People kept on getting involved. So that's why that was why the whole concept was originally put there anyway. So that The Undertaker could get his hands on Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and Kane could come rip the door off.
Well, I was about to say the funny thing is that it didn't work because Kane came down anyway and interfered. So there was still interference, but that was meant to be the idea behind it. But okay, all right, fair enough. I'll concede that if that's the reasoning behind why Brock suggested it, because he saw it as an advantage. Okay, but normally it is not the heel who does that. Normally it is the baby face.
Normally the heels normally cower at the thought of having to compete in Hell in a Cell. But yes, in this instance, it's because Brock hasn't not been defeated.
Ryan says, I understand that from you, Tequila, but I don't agree that Oba looks dumb. Sorry, Tequila. You don't think he looks dumb for sacrificing a guaranteed title shot?
Yeah, stupid. You won King of the Ring. You just won a tournament. You beat X amount of people. That's the reward for winning King of the Ring. You go to SummerSlam, you get your title match. But you just throw it away.
I'm not saying, Ryan, that Obafemi should not get revenge on Brock Lesnar. I never said that. I'm not saying he should forget. I'm saying if you're a smart person, if you're a smart man, you say, okay, I'm going to get my title shot that I've just won. I just won a tournament to get my title shot. Right? I'm the King of the Ring. I'm going to get my title shot. I'm going to win the belt. And then I'm going to come for you, Brock. You can do both. You haven't got to just... that's what I mean by him being stupid. Because he's chosen to forfeit one just to get to Brock when he could have got both of them. If he was a smart person, he would say, okay, I'm gonna come for the title, especially when you've got Sami Zayn, who's just won the belt, who would be deemed as a weak champion, which he's ended up being. If you're on Brock Lesnar, if I'm Obafemi, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go challenge Sami Zayn because he's a weak champion. I'm going to destroy Sami Zayn, and then Brock, you are definitely going to want to wrestle me because I've got the title now. So you're definitely going to wrestle me now. That's what you do if you were smart. He comes across as dumb, and I'm not going to take it back because I've just explained logically why he could have done both. And I like logic in my wrestling, so I'm going to call it. I'll call it out. I'm going to. There's logic gaps in what CM Punk did as well. There's logic gaps which we'll get to, and I'll call it as I see it. I've got a little bit of an issue with what they did with the whole Punk and Zayn stuff, which we'll get to. There is a bit of a gap in logic there too. So I'll throw the logic stuff around fairly. It's Brock's last match, so yeah, but that's never been announced that it's been Brock's last match, Ryan. They've never announced. Brock's never said this is my last match. He's never announced that. I understand that Brock might want to have his last match at SummerSlam, but then they should have come up with another way. They should have come up with something different rather than doing what they did. So I'm talking about the storyline. I'm talking about this. If Brock is only going to do one more match, I get it. Then it should be against Obafemi. Again, I understand. But then they needed to do different creative so that it didn't make Obafemi look stupid. That's all. Alan, any more thoughts on the Brock Lesnar Obafemi stuff, or do you want to move on? I think Alan's playing with his fan again.
Yeah, playing with my fan again. Sorry. Yeah, we can move on. There's nothing needs to be said more about this match, really. It's happening, so there we are.
So the only other noticeable thing that really happened on last week's Raw, not this week's, last week's, was so Seth Rollins just goes up and asks for a title shot, Alan.
Why not? Why not? You know, you've lost so many matches this year. You've come back from an injury. You've just won. Okay, you won 2 matches against Braun Breaker, who's really nobody anymore, and you just get a title match because why not?
I think it's actually quite a poor choice. I know they've got history. I know they're always going to be tied at the hip because of the Shield stuff. I know that. And I know they're always going to kind of be a feud between them because of the Shield stuff. But if SummerSlam's meant to be the second largest pay-per-view of the year, which is how it's being treated because it's the only other pay-per-view that's 2 nights. I think, and it looks like that's probably going to close the show. And I think as the last match, unless they're brave and they have Brock versus Oba, and I don't think they will as the last match. But
oh God, no! What, a 6-minute match at the end? No.
Yeah, but if it's Brock's, the only thing, if it is Brock's last match, then they might think that they've got to do it. I don't know.
I mean, I did hear something about this Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match. Don't know how true it is, because it depends. Because a certain someone's contract is meant to be up, he's not renewing it in AEW.
In AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that then?
John Moxley. Apparently, his contract's coming up, and he doesn't decide to renew it. I don't know how true that is. I could just be talking bullshit here, but
well, if Ambrose or Moxley, whatever you want to call him, wants one more payday, he's got obviously instant stories with both Rollins and Reigns, which will get him plenty of main events, especially against Reigns.
Oh yeah, definitely. But then again, he doesn't like Punk either. So let's keep them two apart.
Yeah, but Rollins doesn't like Punk, and they managed to work.
Well, yeah, I don't know how true that is. Actually, I've seen a picture of Punk and Rollins together.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff where they seem to be cordial. I mean, it's difficult to know, isn't it? Wrestlers always. I'm sure that they might not be best mates, but I'm sure that they are cordial with each other. Same for Roman and Punk. I don't think they're ever going to be best mates, but obviously they were able to work with each other. Punk, even though rumors suggest Punk was unhappy, I don't know. I think they knew that was always the plan. Punk always knew he was dropping it to Roman because that's what Seth originally was going to do. So I think Punk always knew when he'd be losing it. That's what I think anyway. So,
because there was a point in that match between Roman and Punk where Punk did something and Roman broke character and laughed.
Yeah. So Rollins comes out. It wasn't an amazing Rollins is okay as a promo, but he's not top tier. You know my feelings on Roman Reigns' promo ability already. He's far from top tier. So I wasn't expecting a fantastic promo battle between the two, and we didn't get one. And Roman just agrees to it. Roman's just like, yeah, I need to beat you because you're like the ghost. You're like the ghost of my past who's always kind of like hounding me, and I need to beat you. The thing is, do we even not remember all the times that Reigns has beaten Rollins? Like he's acting like he's never beaten him. But he has.
He's been loads of times.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like are we meant to remember all the 3 or 4 other times that these guys have already feuded with each other? It's like no, it's like so. I don't know. The match will be okay because Rollins is a good wrestler. I'm sure the match will be okay, and Ryan's going to be very happy because I 100%. Yeah, Seth's got no chance of beating him. No chance.
Yeah, zero chance of beating him.
Yeah. Because the fact that Reigns was saying, "Oh, I need to beat you, Seth. I've got to beat you, Seth." So it's already kind of written what the story's going to be. Reigns needs to exercise the Seth Rollins demon, right? So I'm sure these guys will wrestle again, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time. Because this is what they do. They'll wait a couple of years and then they'll replay it. If Reigns is still around in 2 or 3 years' time, by the way, which
no, unlikely. Apparently, WrestleMania next year is his last one.
That wouldn't shock me. So Reigns will probably beat Rollins. I'm not sure what happens to Reigns after that. I'm sure there'll be.
Well, if another rumor is circulating that Zilla Fatu is apparently signed with the company, so he'll be on his way in. So we got another member of the Bloodline.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll end up joining the Bloodline at some point. I mean, they all will. So yeah, that sets up the rest of WrestleMania, the SummerSlam main event. I myself don't care about the match. I don't. I've seen Rollins versus Reigns several times throughout the years. The match will be okay. It's not going to be a disaster. It will be solid enough because Rollins will carry Reigns as he normally does. Because Reigns is not bad enough where he can't be carried. Reigns is okay. I don't think he's great, but he's all right. So Rollins will be able to carry to him, just like Punk and Reigns was also better than it had any right. I'm sure that Rollins can carry Reigns to a good match as well. So the match will be solid enough. I just don't care about it. That's me. I don't care at all about it. I find Reigns boring. I'm not going to go on a massive tirade of Reigns. Everyone who knows my feelings, I find him boring as hell. I know that Ryan. I know you think he's top tier promos. You're allowed your opinion. I mean, he's not even in the top 50 for me. So he might not even be top 100. He's certainly not top 50. I could implore you to go and watch some other guys who cut promos in their prime, but I don't want to be disrespectful. But you grew up with what you grew up with. I grew up with what I grew up with. But there's nothing for me that comes across natural as Roman Reigns. I will say that he's better than he used to be, but that wasn't a high ceiling anyway. Like the stuff his promos used to be absolutely terrible when he was first a babyface, when Vince was pushing him to the moon. Then after he turned heel, he became better at it because he's a natural heel. He's a bad guy. And because he's more or less playing a bad guy character who gets cheered, which is what he is, which is what the character is, he's still able to be more heel than babyface. So he hasn't had to divert completely back to his horrible babyface character. But for me, the promos are his weakest part. The worst part about Roman Reigns is his promos. He's a better wrestler than he is a promo. I think his promos are the worst part of him. In my opinion.
Suffering succotash.
Brutal. But like I say, Ryan, it's not me taking a shot on you, mate. We just disagree a lot. We are like fire and ice on the Roman Reigns and John Cena stuff. Like I couldn't disagree with you more with those two, unfortunately. So that's the main event, at least one of the main events set up. So let's move to the Raw.
Oh, before we do, that Raw with Seth and Reigns doing all that, there was one match on that thing that really, really, really fucking annoyed me. And it was a completely forgettable match, but the result was just so wrong. And it was Rey Mysterio versus Ethan Page.
Okay.
For fuck's sake. Rey Mysterio, age, was he 54, 55? Can't put over a guy half his age.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Ethan Page probably Rey Mysterio, with all due respect, doesn't particularly need to be winning that many matches anymore.
Nope, does not need to. He can barely hit his 619 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, retire. He does. He has been holding on too long. Bless him. He must be coming to the end. I'm sure that he'll lose a retirement match to. Well, it's going to be to Dominic, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll be shocked if he's around in 2 years. You might get one more year out of him, but surely he can't sign another contract. I mean, you never know. Hey, look, if they offer him loads of money, I guess he. So this week's Raw was generally built around the whole Sami Zayn as champion facing Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gets attacked early in the show by Gunter, power bombs him through one of the tables backstage, and then you've got Adam Priest saying, "Oh, Pierce, sorry, oops, yeah." Slip from story designer from many years ago. So he's scrambling around trying to find a contender, and this is where there's breaks in logic. You've got a whole roster of people already there, and you can't put somebody to face Cody Rhodes. You need to start panicking, making phone calls, trying to find the last minute replacement. And it's like, hold on, haven't you got a whole roster of guys who have already turned up for that show? And
yeah, hell, give Braun Breaker a shot.
It could be one of so many people. Yeah. And I was like I slagged off Obafemi, rightfully so, to my opinion, because of the lack of logic. So here's me, who is a fan of CM Punk, not liking this. Because it's the logic, it doesn't make sense. It's so hard for me to spend.
Well, this is an option that we should have done. But you don't want your match at SummerSlam. Do you know what? Guess what? You can have a world title match tonight. How about that? Because our challenger is out of action. So you go have your title match tonight instead. Sammy could have won it. Could have won the match via Brock Lesnar. A bit of fuckery from Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, they could have done that. That would have made sense.
Oba could have beaten him clean, and that was it. Then you got Oba versus Brock in the Hell in a Cell match. Either.
I mean, we all heard the rumors they wanted Punk versus Cody, so that is what's going to happen. That's the only reason they did all this. So and I'm okay with that match. It is probably the biggest match they can put on. So I understand, and I'd much rather see Punk versus Cody than I would Reigns versus Rollins. I think out of those two matches, I think Punk versus Cody should close should be night 2. It won't be because that's Roman Reigns for you, but it should be because it's the fresher match, significantly a fresher match. I don't think Punk and Cody have wrestled since like I think they had a couple of matches when they were both maybe like 2010, 2011. So we're talking 15 years.
Yeah.
And this is obviously when Cody Rhodes was like dashing Cody Rhodes or like Stardust, right? So he was still like mid card. So, and they've been teasing the Punk Cody match has been teased ever since Punk's come back. I remember Punk cut a promo on Cody before the Royal Rumble where Punk got injured. So they right away they put these two kind of in each other's faces. So they've been building for this has been 2 or 3 years of build, so kind of hinting at it slowly, kind of hinting at it. So that match should close the show, but. So, again, the gap of logic is why can't the GM find a suitable replacement? I don't buy it. It makes no sense to me. And then halfway through the show, you've got Nick Aldis, who, by the way, Alan, is meant to be on leave. He's meant to be suspended. Why is he there?
Because he's got his new SmackDown star, hasn't he? CM Punk.
Yeah, but.
I understand. Yeah, he should be.
Why is he in the building?
He should be there at all. I mean, I actually did watch Raw. For the first time in a couple of weeks, I actually watched it.
Did you watch?
Do you know what? It's actually not a long. It's actually not as long a show as it normally is. It seems really short.
It's like 2.5 hours. Yeah, it actually isn't 3 hours. It's normally.
Let's put it this way: I was watching a football match on my phone from the World Cup. Raw ended before the football match did.
Yeah. It normally ends about 2.5 hours now, sometimes 2:20.
Yeah, it seems really quick. I mean, we had that segment with Gunther attacking Cody. Then we had the tag title match, Street Profits defending against the Vision.
Put the belts back on the Vision because there's no tag teams anymore, Alan. So poor Braun again. This is what I mean. Poor Braun. You got nothing more. I know Logan Paul's injured, right? I get it. I understand. If Logan Paul wasn't injured, it would be Paul in theory, right? But again, it's just such a demotion for Braun Breaker. It is.
Yeah, so Bronson Reed needs to hurry up and come back.
He does. So Nick Aldis confronts him. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I think it looks like they're going to go for Gunther versus Nick Aldis. It looks like that's what they're going to do, which is an interesting one because Aldis hasn't wrestled in 3 years.
Yeah, some of that. Because I say months ago, I heard there's a rumor going around that Heyman was meant to be taking his place.
Oh, well, maybe
that's GM of SmackDown.
Maybe they will do that. If Heyman is going to leave the Vision, which it looks like he's not involved, and if Brock does retire, then Heyman's not going to have a role, is he?
No, exactly. There's not much more Heyman can actually do, and it gives Heyman an on-screen role as well. And we haven't really had a heel GM in a long time.
No, they've both generally been kind of baby faces, haven't they? So Nick Aldis says to him, "Oh, I know somebody. I'll make a phone call. I know somebody." Again, it breaks in logic. I've got to call it out. I have to. Why can't the GM of Raw contact CM Punk, a Raw superstar? Why has he not got Punk's number? Storyline wise, he doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, Adam Pearce should be like, you know what? We're in Chicago. I know the guy. I know exactly who we need. I'm gonna give him a call right now. Leave it at that. It's the fans knew who it was going to be because they were chanting his name even through the Seth Rollins promo.
Well, yeah, of course they were. Everyone knew, but it's one of the worst. It's actually been one of the worst kept secrets this year.
Yeah, because they actually said, I said on one of our previous episodes that Punk was due on the 6th of July episode of Raw because it's coming from Chicago. I thought it was going to be a promo, so basically saying, thanks a lot, thank you, Chicago, but I'm now going to SmackDown. That's what I thought it was going to be.
They could have done this so many better ways. They could have had. You're right, Alan. Why didn't they just have Punk comes out, start of the show, says, "Oh yeah, I lost the title. I wanted to take a couple of months off. He's in much better shape. You can tell he's been hitting the gym. So I've been working on myself. I'm going to try and win back the world title. So I'm going to try and win back the world title. So I'm going to challenge the winner of Reigns versus Rollins or something like that. But he can make that claim. I'm going to challenge the winner." Cuts his promo, says, and then after that, you have the injury with Cody. So we know that Punk's already in the building. and he just cut the promo, right? So he's already in the building, and then they have Punk fill in. The Punk was already there to cut in a promo. None of this. Let me go call him up. He lives 20 minutes from the arena. You didn't have to do any of that. You could have just done Punk's there, cuts a promo, makes it look like he's going to challenge the winner of Rollins versus Reigns. Wants his rematch for the world title because he didn't get a rematch. So it looks like that's the route they're going to go. And then they do the thing with Cody gets injured, and then Punk goes in, wins the title, and then obviously he goes to SmackDown, which is what obviously has happened. Yes, I don't know why didn't they go that route, Al? Why did they have to come up with this whole, I can't find anyone to replace him. I can't, and then
because it's Netflix and they got shit writers. That's why. But like you said, what it should have been. Punk should have challenged the winner of the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins match. Because look, do you know what? I can wait till Money in the Bank. It'll give whoever wins that some time with the belt. I'll come after you then. So obviously, then we get the Cody injury.
Yeah.
Nick Aldis can turn up and say, do you know what? Why don't you challenge Sami Zayn for this, and then you can come and join the SmackDown roster?
It was a very, very. It made it look. We all know wrestling's predetermined. We're all old enough to understand this, right? None of us are thinking otherwise, right? We're not kids, so we know it's predetermined. But when they do stuff like that, it makes it really difficult to suspend disbelief. Whereas this way, the way I just suggested, they already had Punk there for a reason. He was already there for a reason to cut the promo. He was already there. He was already there in the building. So they didn't need to do this. Call on the phone. You live 20 minutes away, and then he comes through the garage. I mean, I thought that was. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's tacky. I'm thinking, why was he in his wrestling gear when the outdoor doors were opening?
Yeah, because the storyline meant to be Al. The Punk was at home, probably having sex with AJ. Not that I blame him. And then basically he got a call on his phone as he's halfway doing it to her, from Nick Aldis saying, "Go put your gear on, come meet us." That literally is what they're suggesting happened. That literally is what they're saying. The Punk was just literally just at home, and he got a call, and they said to him, "Go put your gear on and come to the arena." That's because that's what that was selling, Alan. That's why he turned up in his gear. So literally, he was at home, 20 minutes away, and he got a phone call halfway through the show.
It'd be better if he turned up in a car and got out with his gear on.
It's just, I didn't. I'm a Punk fan, but I thought that was silly. I
thought it was stupid as well.
Anyway, him and Sammy have a good match. It was a good match. It wasn't amazing. It was a good match.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
Am I a fan of Sami Zayn hitting multiple finishes on CM Punk? His own finisher, GTS, but it's still a finisher. No, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I think it's fine when they do it in this match, and then complain when Femi and Brock Lesnar. Granted, 2 is not 7. That is a difference, but I don't like it that much. I don't like the finisher spams. I don't mind 1 or 2, but when Zayn kept on hitting Punk with the GTS, I was getting a bit like, okay, can you stop? Can you stop hitting finishes, please? I'll be honest, I was. So so this is a pandemic. This is not a Brock Lesnar Femi issue. Brock is guilty of it a lot because of the way he wrestles his matches, because he only has 5-minute matches. So that's why it feels worse. But it is something in wrestling that I am not a fan. I'm just not. Less is more. I'm not saying you can't ever kick out of a finisher. I'm not saying that. But once it starts becoming 2 or 3, I get a bit like, It's meant. I want finishes to be a bit more protected, guys. That's all. I want them to be a bit more protected.
Yeah, otherwise they're not finishers, are they?
No.
They're just part of your moveset. Like a body slam or a DDT,
So Punk hits him with his own Helluva kick as well. So Punk's also guilty of it. He was hitting Sami Zayn's finisher on Zayn. So he hits him with his Helluva kick, and then he hits. I mean, it only was the 1 GTS. To be fair, it only took 1 to put Sami down, I suppose. But still, less finishes overall, particularly my little gripe. But it like I say, it wasn't 7, so it's nowhere near as egregious. But it was more than I would have liked. GTS 1, 2, 3, and Sami Zayn's reign, Alan, 9 days. On commentary, they said that was the shortest reign in 5 years. I'm trying to remember who the last shortest reign was. 5 years.
I'm trying to remember when Miz won it. Miz won it at world title, didn't he?
He lost it to Bobby Lashley the next week, so that was 7 days.
Yeah, I can't remember when that was. That was
Actually, I think that might have been it, Alan. That would have been 2021. When did Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, it was during the pandemic, wasn't it? It was during the pandemic.
I think it was just after the pandemic, which would be 21. Yeah, Alan's searching, I think. Yeah, find out when Lashley beat Miz for the world title. I bet you it is 21. 5 years.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep. He won it on the 21st of February. He lost it on the 1st of March. It was 8 days.
8 days. There you go. So
actually, that's more than 5 years, technically. It's 5 years in a couple of months.
Yeah, just over 5 years.
So sorry, Michael Cole. It's not the shortest one in 5 years at all, but almost.
So he joins the ranks of The Miz. He joins the ranks of, unfortunately for me, because I do like him, but Christian only held the belt for 2 days. That was depressing. Who else, Alan? My Yokozuna, first title reign, 30 seconds or a minute, whatever that was.
Yep.
And also, believe it or not, guys, again, history is your friend. Andre the Giant. He won the belt from Hulk Hogan and then sold it to DiBiase within like a minute or so. He relinquished the title he sold the belt to Ted DiBiase. It was kind of overturned, but Andre technically Ted never actually officially was recognized, but in the record books it says that Andre vacated the belt. That's not actually what it was, but that's how they put it because they never acknowledged Ted winning, buying the belt. So basically, Andre vacated the title after about a minute in the record. In the record, if you care about these things, and I do because I'm a historian, then Andre the Giant literally had the world title for about a minute.
Yeah, something like that. Well, that's how I'm getting to Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. And then there's been a number of short range champions via Money in the Bank cash-ins. Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns for it 1 year, and then Ambrose cashed in on him. I remember that. Rollins only held the belt for like about a minute. CM Punk, obviously, last year at Money in the Bank. At SummerSlam. He beat Gunther for the belt, if you remember. And then Rollins cashed in on him as well. Rollins cashed in on Punk after about 2 minutes and won the belt from him. So there has been a number of these short title reigns, but most of these really short title reigns have been because of the Money in the Bank cash-in stipulation. So, Alan, quickly, any thoughts on? I know that you're not the biggest Sami Zayn fan, so you might say it doesn't bother me that much, but there is a lot of blowback on what they've done. There's a lot of people saying that Sami Zayn deserved to have a proper reign. There's a lot of people saying they are upset that CM Punk's kind of came out of nowhere and pulled a Hulk Hogan circular WrestleMania 9. He's just appeared, got a title shot, doesn't deserve it. Well,
that's WWE for you. There's a lot of people who've walked back into the company. A certain John Cena's walked back into the company after injury or time away, and he's walked back into a title match. It happens all the time. So it works for Cena. Why can't it work for Punk?
Okay, so here's how I see it. And I am a fan of CM Punk, right? So storyline wise, if we are meant to believe that wins and losses matter, which is what I want to believe, then I think you can easily say that CM Punk should not have gotten the title shot. But there's a little bit of a caveat. Punk lost the world title and never got a rematch.
Yeah, there's that.
So you could say that he was due a rematch, but he was due a rematch with Roman Reigns, which is a different belt.
True.
So I can understand some of the blowback. I can. I don't believe, honestly, that Punk was doing political things. I actually don't generally believe that. I think he was happy to lose to Roman. I think he always knew he was going to lose to Roman. This is just this is just based on what I know of the man, what I've seen, the impression I get. Right. I don't think that he's political. I think that this is just the way they've decided to do the Cody Punk match. That there's so one of them had to be a champion, and you could easily have said that They could have just gone with the original, with what we thought was going to happen. And Cody, there's no way that Sami Zayn is. This is what I mean. So Sami Zayn was never getting to SummerSlam as a champion. Never.
No. I said it was Cody Punk weeks ago.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So the only thing that's changed is that we all thought that it'd be Cody who had the belt and not Punk. So that's the only change that's happened because we assumed that Cody would have the title. So you got to ask yourself, why have they gone this route? Why didn't they just have Cody either win it back on Raw, or we know why they had Cody drop it. They did it to give Sami Zayn a moment. They did it for two reasons: to give Sami Zayn a moment, probably as you know, because Triple H is quite high on Sami Zayn because of the NXT stuff. So you probably thought, I'll throw him a bone. He's never going to get a proper title reign because he's not a big enough star. We're never going to go the full way with him. We'll give him a transitional little reign. But it was probably mainly done because Saudi Arabia. They wanted to give a moment to Saudi Arabia. This was their chance to do it. If they're not going to do it at WrestleMania next year, then this is the only other chance they've got. So they've decided to do it. So they were never going to probably put the belt on Sami Zayn in WrestleMania. So they're more likely to do it in a B-level pay-per-view like Night of Champions. Rather, Sami Zayn wasn't going to end WrestleMania next year as champion. There's no chance of that.
Probably not. No.
So this is why they've done it. So they've done that, and then they've decided to go with Punk the champion. Storyline-wise, Al, I think it makes less sense. I think storyline-wise, I would rather have Cody have the belt defending against Punk, if I'm honest. Personally.
There's an opportunity here. I think I'll make another prediction here. I think with Punk going in as champion, I think Punk retains, and I think Cody turns heel.
I think the Cody heel turn is coming. I don't know if it's going to come as soon as SummerSlam. I think it is coming. I think they realize. I think they realize that they've got to pull the trigger soon because the fans are starting to really get sick of him. Always getting the sick of him was him always getting the title shots because he's been joined at the hip to the title for 2.5 years now. Like literally, he's either been champion or he's been number one contender constantly for 2.5 years. People get bored. This isn't the 80s anymore. It's not the 80s. This is not where Hogan can have the belt for 6 years. I know that Reigns had the belt for 4 years, but that was a bit different because he was a heel. He was a heel guy who only defend. By the way, Alan, Roman Reigns heel. How often did he defend the title? 4 times a year. Reigns defended the belt 4 times a year. Okay.
Yes, but no, exactly. Bullshit. So I don't count his historic 1400-day reign because I think he defended the title about 20 times in those 4 years or something.
Yeah, he was a part-time champion, just like Brock was. That is what Roman Reigns has been. He's a part-time champion. But the days where somebody can be a babyface champion for like 6 or 8 years in a row just can't happen anymore because people have got so short attention spans that they get bored. And there's so much more wrestling on nowadays. You got to remember, guys, back in the day, you had Wrestling Challenge, which might be 45 minutes with ads, and then you might get Superstars, and then you got like four pay-per-views a year. Not even that to start with. To start with, it was only WrestleMania. You didn't start getting 4 pay-per-views a year till 89.
Yeah, because WrestleMania was 85. You didn't get Survivor Series until 87. Royal Rumble was 89.
88 was the first one, but it wasn't a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it didn't really count. It was just a network special, if you like.
Yeah. And
then SummerSlam was 88. So yeah, with WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble in that order. That's how they went. And then King of the Ring became its own event in 93.
Exactly. So the Cody Rhodes is 2 years on top is almost the equivalent, if you think about how much more wrestling there is on TV. Is nearly the equivalent of maybe like 5 years of Hogan being on top. It gets people get bored. And it's not a knock on Cody Rhodes really. They got bored of Hogan. They got bored of Hogan, The Rock, even The Rock when he was a good guy. Even The Rock started getting booed. when he was from. I remember The Rock when Rock fought Hogan. Hogan was meant to be the heel. Fans turned on The Rock. When The Rock fought Brock Lesnar in 2002, fans turned on The Rock. So it happened to and The Rock's one of the biggest stars of all time. Despite what you might think of him nowadays, he was one of the biggest stars of all time, if not the second or third biggest star ever. If Hogan can get booed after being the babyface for too long, and The Rock can get booed, then so can Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes he's hit that point, Alan, where people have seen enough of him in this position. So he's got to turn heel. So how would you then quickly? I know we've gone over quickly, Alan. If you do a Rhodes heel turn, what do you do? Say he wrestles Punk. Do you have him cheat to beat Punk, or does he lose to Punk and then just loses his shit? What do you do?
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it. Yep, it's after the match beatdown.
You sacked him.
And who knows? Maybe the SmackDown after that, maybe he does form his little faction with Ricky Saints and Royce Keys.
If they do that now, Alan, I want royalties. I want Triple H to hire me.
They always nick your ideas. You did an idea and story designer. 2 weeks later, the exact same thing would happen. Even if it was different characters, it'd be the same story.
Hire me, Trips. I will work for much cheaper than the Road Dogg.
And the scary thing was, it happened at least 4 or 5 times. That's the scary thing. Someone was playing our story designer mode. Paying attention to your stories.
They're ripping off my ideas, Al. That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Into it. The last assist, next Nuga.
So Punk beats him, and then Cody does the fake handshake, and then clobbers him with the title.
Yeah,
and then...
because it was last SummerSlam, isn't it? Punk beat Gunther and won the title, and then he gets cashed in on by Seth Rollins.
Yep, that's right.
So is Punk going to lose SummerSlam again? I mean, granted, SummerSlam's not a great event for Punk. He hasn't won many.
I think if Cody just beats him, right, I think the fans will boo heavily. If Cody Rhodes beats CM Punk, even if they don't love Punk that much, it's not even about Punk that much. It's about the fans are just tired of Cody always having the belt. So I think that if they put the belt right back on Cody again, I think there's going to be a bigger backlash because it's fatigue now. People are now fed up of Cody Rhodes with the belt.
But that's the other option. Cody beats him. Cody comes out on SmackDown the week after. Punk comes out to confront him. They have a little bit of back and forth. Punk turns the fans, more towards hating Cody. Because Punk's good at pointing out,
He blends the line between shoot and story pretty well.
He's good at manipulating the crowd. So I think he can turn the crowd more against Cody.
What I hope they don't do, even though I think at some point Punk does need to have a heel run before Punk finally retires, and he probably won't be here by his. I think that he's probably got 2 or 3 years left max, right? Before he retires, I would like to see one more CM Punk heel run. It's going to be difficult because he's at that status now. Like, this is the problem they had when they turned Orton heel. Once wrestlers get to a certain status, the fans don't want to boo them. Randy Orton's there. Even John Cena's there. That was half the reason why the heel turn didn't work, because the fans just didn't want to boo him for whatever reason, but they didn't. They didn't want to boo him. And Punk is there as well. He's up there where he's so established that he'll never truly be booed. He'll always get a lot of cheers because of who he is. But I would like to see a Punk heel turn, one more heel run if possible before he goes into the sunset. So would you consider turning Punk heel? I think it will backfire terribly if they have Punk go heel and Punk cheats to beat Cody, because I can see him doing it. But I think it will not get the response they want. They will not boo Punk. If Punk goes heel on Cody, I don't think they're going to boo CM Punk.
Yeah,
they'll probably cheer him.
That's put Punk into a faction, wouldn't they? Because that's that's the typical thing. I mean, Punk had he had the Straight Society. He had the New Nexus.
Yep.
So Punk would have to go into some sort of faction where he's like the Seth Rollins, if you like.
I can see I actually can see a way of them doing it. I don't know. Again, do I want to say this? You're going to rip my idea off. I'm sure Punk's already thought of this. He's a smart enough dude when it comes to wrestling. But if CM Punk loses to Cody Rhodes, he could maybe run a storyline where he's just lost 2 high-profile matches. He just lost to Reigns and he's just lost to Cody. He can look in the mirror maybe and play the whole, I'm too old. I can't keep up with them anymore. So I need to resort to the lowest tactics possible to make up for the fact, because I can't beat Cody, I can't beat Roman, right? I've lost to both of them in big matches, and he could go down that route where he becomes like the grizzled veteran, which he already kind of is, but the grizzled veteran who's just desperate to hang on to his spot as long as possible, and will use every dirty tactic and every cheap shot possible. And I think he could do that really well. I think because he's got that kind of storytelling in him. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I just don't think the fans are going to go with it. I think the fans will cheer him, which is not what you want.
That's a problem. And it comes back to the whole cheering and singing along to songs, doesn't it?
Yep.
Rollins, massive heel at the time, keeps singing to his fucking song.
Didn't change his fucking music. They've got themselves to blame a lot with that. You change his music, man. You change his music. You don't keep that. I don't know if they've got the balls to turn Cody heel, and they should.
They should.
I just don't know if they've got the balls.
Because
what do you guys think in the chat? He is.
Punk's more likable.
If anyone in the chat wants to throw up some, what they think before we head off, then let us know. If not, then we can head off in a sec. So the last thing I do want to talk about, I showed Alan, and I implore you guys to check it out. I don't know if I'm even allowed to put the link in the chat. Let me see if I can. It's not against any rules, is it?
No, you can put links in. It's nothing.
So the link I'm going to put into the chat is something I showed Alan. It's on YouTube. It's from the YouTube thingy, but I do implore you to watch this promo, because there's a lot of people out there who don't like Sami Zayn, who say you can't cut a promo to say, I know that he doesn't. I know that he looks like a kind of homeless person, which he does. That is his look. He's not chiseled. He hasn't got a great physique. He's a little bit. He's pale. I do understand. He doesn't look like a Roman Reigns, right? He doesn't. But to say that this man is not good at his job, and his job is cutting promos and wrestling, I do implore you guys to watch this promo, because I saw this promo and I was like, this is really good.
Yeah, it's good.
And
it's good for me.
I think if this is going to be his character going forward, then even though he only had a 9-day title reign, I think he can become. I think now he has to go full heel, because he's been towing the line a little bit. I think now this is the catalyst for him to go absolute heel, right? Let me put it into the chat. Bear with me a sec, guys. This should be allowed, yeah, I'm sure it's not. So I'm going to put this into the chat. I recommend, after you finish watching us, because we'll be heading off soon, go and give that a watch, guys. It's only 2 minutes. It's the Sami Zayn reaction after Raw ended on their YouTube channel to him losing the belt. There's a couple of F-bombs in there, which they bleep out. It's a very good, mature promo. It's not, and so I'm really looking forward to the Sami Zayn character. Because if he goes in a direction I personally would like to see, he's going to be one of the few sources of entertainment. I need as many reasons as possible to watch SmackDown, Al, because I can't. That show's bad.
Yeah, SmackDown's terrible. I told you, I've not watched a full episode of SmackDown since the White Six left.
Oh, it's bad. I'll watch to see CM Punk, who obviously is going to be over there now, so that's a reason for me to have a look at the stuff he does over there.
That'll be fun. Drew McIntyre's on that roster, isn't he?
Hopefully, Drew will be back soon. Yeah, and so I'm going to be interested to see what they do for the Punk Cody stuff. I'll be interested to see how they build to that, because their promo should be really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. They'll probably start that this week, I would assume. The build will start. And I'll be very curious to see what they do with Sami Zayn. So if he fully turns heel and becomes this kind of deranged, kind of desperate kind of character, which is what I think they're going to do with him. They're going to make him like a kind of unhinged kind of character. So Sami Zayn, 9-day title reign, but I do think overall for his character, it might end up working quite well for him.
I hope so.
They need heels, Alan. They need heels.
And he's good at what he does, Sami Zayn. People can dislike his look, but he can cut a good promo, and he can wrestle. The man can wrestle. He's really good at it. If anyone saw his NXT days, his match against Shinsuke Nakamura, amazing match, 30-minute classic that was.
One of the best matches in NXT history, I think.
Yeah.
He had good feuds with Kevin Owens as well. Do you remember when Owens powerbombed him? Sami Zayn won the belt, and then Owens powerbombed him after them.
Yep, I remember that.
That was one of the first times they did the old executive producer Paul Levesque or whatever, or they put the thing they always put the trademark before they end the show. It's one of the first times they did it. They did it for when they also did it when Ciampa turned on Gargano as well. So they did it a couple of times, but I remember them doing it after Zayn won the title. You thought, oh, the show's gone off the air, and then Kevin Owens brutally attacks him. So good stuff. Anything else, Al, before we head out? Anything else you want to say?
Good. No, I was going to say, I just look forward to SmackDown this week and see what happens.
Yeah, I will be certainly watching the highlights, most likely, to see what they do with Punk and Sami Zayn. So SummerSlam, Obafemi versus Brock is official. Reigns versus Rollins is official. Cody versus Punk is not official, but it's going to be, because Cody obviously never got his title shot, did he? So it writes itself. It's obvious. So, and then we've got Punk. Quickly, Alan, we will head off after this. I do think that they probably are the three biggest matches. You could make an argument that they could have found a better challenger for Reigns. There's an argument, I think. That
easily. Yeah, easily. I'm not over the moon about Seth Rollins Reigns again. It reminds me, it's not quite as bad, but it reminds me of that year. I think it was like 2009, 2000, maybe even 8. Do you remember? And I think it was when they had the monthly pay-per-views. Obviously, some in your house events had long gone by that point, but they converted it all into monthly pay-per-views.
Yeah,
and at least 8 of them, maybe even 9. The main event was John Cena versus Randy Orton. Remember that? I do. That year, I think only about 3 of the events that year didn't have that main event to it.
That
John Cena versus Randy Orton, it just wouldn't bloody end.
That feud, Alan, they must have wrestled in every type of match you can imagine.
Yeah, they had obviously one-on-ones. They had that last man standing match.
They had a Hell in a Cell as well.
They had a Hell in a Cell match. It just wouldn't end.
Yeah, the Rollins versus Reigns feud is never going to end. They're going to be tied at the hip because of the Shield. So even if they do have this match and Reigns is going to beat him, after Reigns beats him, don't think that we won't ever see this match again, because he probably will in a couple of years, unless Roman calls it quits, which he could.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe then you will.
He's definitely calling it quits.
Quickly ending off, Ryan says even though Phil would be a good heel if he was going to do pipe bombs again. Well, when I see the pipe bombs will get him, that's the problem. The pipe bombs will get him cheered. That's the problem. If Punk cuts those kind of promos, he will be cheered. There's no getting around it. That's the thing. But if Phil does not do pipe bombs, then keep him face. I think there's a heel run left in him, but it's gonna be very, very difficult to get the fans to boo him. It could be almost nearly impossible. Look, we've already seen the evidence. Just look, Randy Orton this year. That's the evidence for you. Randy Orton turned heel. Randy Orton beat up Cody Rhodes, turned heel. Fans cheered him.
Yeah,
they cheered him. The only reason they started booing him, and it wasn't even him they were booing, is when Pat McAfee got involved, and then they started booing Pat. They never really booed Orton. They booed Pat. So fans. I don't think fans know what they want to do. That was my criticism. I think the Bloodline is a great example. Fans don't know what they want to do. Right. Okay. And Cuba quickly. SmackDown is about as much fun as listening to Andy Murray interview. Yeah. Hopefully this week might be worth tuning. We'll see. I'll be watching the Punk promo. I'll be watching what they do with Sami Zayn. But, Brian says, when can we see? I think he's injured. He was injured. Yeah,
did he back to any WrestleMania, didn't he? Or something?
He was injured going into WrestleMania, and apparently he agreed to do the match, but he was injured. That's why the match was structured how it was, because Orton was injured. So he probably shouldn't have done the match, but obviously it was the main event, so they wanted to do it. But obviously he probably shouldn't have done it because he's obviously ended up hurting himself, and he's been out for like 6 months again. So he probably is going to come back at some point soon. But who knows when? He'll probably come back and feud with Cody again. I'm assuming his unfinished business there, I guess, unless Cody's a heel. Huh. Maybe they'll do Orton versus Punk. They haven't done that in a long time. When did they last wrestle? Before Punk. Punk hasn't fought him since he's come back.
Yeah, sure, actually, yeah, definitely, yeah.
All right, and guys, well, Alan's fans going crazy in the background. Bless him. It is bloody hot. It's stuffy.
Yeah, sorry, I can't cope in this room without that fan. I need it. I can't wait to get out of this room.
Yeah, we're heading off. But thank you everyone for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, do all that good things. We will be back sometime next week. We're trying to do one of these shows a week. Like I say, we couldn't get it done last week, so we tried to keep them for one day in the midweek. Normally Wednesday, but sometimes it might have to be moved around because 3 out of the 4 of us work. I'm the only one who's a bum. So get up, rock your bum. Right. So from Tequila the Body Ventura, and even though he hasn't got his name, that is Alan the $1 Million Man Priest.
No, actually, I'm Damien Demento today.
You're Damien Demento.
Yeah, I'm talking to the demons.
Where before we go, Alan, tell them where you came from. Where does Damien Demento come from? Come on.
Oh, the.
You remember? It's great. I'm testing his memory.
God, I didn't know there's gonna be a test.
It was so silly when I announced where he's from. Come on, does Alan remember it? I remember it.
In a part of your mind, wasn't it, or something like
that? The outer reaches of your mind.
That's it. The outer reaches of your mind. Yeah, Damien Demento, and he used to pick people up in the body stand, and then just drop them, and then just look up and start talking.
And his finisher was a knee drop. Not a running knee drop or a knee drop. A knee drop.
Yeah, he just turn his knee pad around and then just drop a knee and that's it and pin him.
So when you do complain about wrestling nowadays, and I like to complain as well, remember that there is no Damien Demento. There's no Mantar. There's no Damien Demento.
No.
It can get worse. It can be 1993 to 1995. Just saying. And with that, again, thank you guys. Tequila and Tango out. See you next time. And what a maneuver!
Yeah.
Where's your lexicon? Take care, guys.